We're going to turn this into this, but first I've got to take you back in time just a little bit, back when Brenna and I were living in my trailer, shooting photos full time. We used to do this thing called the $20 challenge. I'm going to draw your attention right here to what she's holding in her hand in front of her, and this is in the shape of Texas. We did this $30 challenge or $20 challenge, and it was Texas themed, but we didn't use it. So today I've decided to paint it black, and now I'm going to paint that pumpkin on it. So I'm just going to start right now by sketching out the pumpkin, kind of lay out some pencil lines so I can see what I'm doing. It's really hard to see it on the video here, but it's pretty easy for me to see in real life. I'd been sketching this pumpkin out in other ways on Procreate, so I took a picture of that and then I sketched the design. I made it in Procreate first, and now I'm making it here on this little picket fence looking thing. The first thing that I want to do is lay down a base coat of white, because orange right on top of black isn't going to show up very well. So you saw a second ago, I had just kind of an off-white color, it's like a chalky white. We're just going to start with that, use it as a base coat, and I'm actually going to lay down 2 layers here. We just start kind of mapping out the pumpkin. As you can see, it's a little wonky, but that's okay. That's part of stuff being hand painted, I guess. And later on I fixed the shape up a little bit, because I had a nice round shape on the left, and then on the right it was like, whoa, ran out of room. So I'm just going over that here with a second coat of paint, just so I have a nice bright white. I wish I would have done that for the stem too, but just didn't think about it. So here I'm kind of going in with that same black paint that I had before. It's just kind of a chalk paint. I should have let this dry a little bit. As you can see, it did pick up a little bit of that white paint. It wasn't quite dry up there. I waited 0.5 seconds, so no surprise that it was a little wet. No big deal. Just kept going back over it, and then later, before I sprayed it and sealed this, I went over one more time and just kind of cleaned it up after everything dried. So now I'm going through and painting just a really nice dark green stem for this pumpkin. I just want it to be kind of a cool green. I combined a couple of different shades of green. Now I've got a couple different shades of orange here, kind of going for a reddish orange. I really like that dark red orange kind of pumpkin for the background of the pumpkin. And it's kind of like a 2-layer. You saw me draw like 2 kind of circles, like concentric kind of circles, and then one that overlapped. It's almost like a Venn diagram sort of pumpkin. We're just going to start with this kind of darker orange, and then we'll paint a lighter orange on top of that. As you can see, just kind of going through, blending. You never want to just use straight color right out of the tube. You saw me do that for the base white, but that's just because I just needed white. And then just kind of cleaning things up, going over maybe a little second coat over some spots that need it, that were a little thin, but there you go. Pretty simple, nice orange. And now we're going for this kind of yellowish orange, a couple different shades of yellow, and then I'm going to add a little bit because I don't like it just too yellow. I didn't want it to be like squash. It still needs to look like a pumpkin, you know what I mean? But this other one, slightly closer to you, so it's a little bit brighter, and just to give it a little contrast so it stands out from the background. So just a nice little difference in shade and tone, I guess. So just going over it here, and it kind of looks flat at this stage, but we're going to give it some highlights and shadows coming up next. We just need to kind of finish the job here. So this is the little bit of highlight on the stem here. We're just coming in with a nice bright, kind of brighter green, coming in some shades, and then I'm just taking a lot of that wet paint off, and then I can just dry brush it on there. It makes it so much nicer. You get that nice little texture on there. And then I'm going to come in with a lighter shade of that yellowish orange and add a little bit more of the yellowish to it and a little bit of white. Kind of brighten it up so I can have some highlights coming over the top of that pumpkin, kind of brighten it up. And same thing on these darker orange spots, just lightly in here. It's almost a dry brush technique. It's like medium wet maybe. There's not much paint on the brush. And then same thing on the shadow side, just coming in, adding a little darker red tone, and just dabbing it in there and making sure that it's just subtle. You know, I don't want to get carried away. I don't want it too dark and contrasty. Okay, that's it. Just like that, we're done. And now I just want to show you the back real quick, show you that it's a picture frame and it just kind of stands up, and that's how it's going to live its life on the shelf, just like that. The next thing we're going to do is come in here with a clear coat, spray over it just so that it's all sealed and ready to go. But that's it, just a simple clear coat to finish it off, and it looks really nice.